Morning, it's Saturday the 25th of April, and the plan for today was to do the bed for the runner beans, run the rotavator over it. However, we've just had a good downpour, so the soil's a bit wet, so I've reverted back to plan B, and I'm going to do a bit of sowing and potting on. Let's go. First seeds to go in this morning are the spring onions, the white Lisbon. I've already got 2 lots out into the ground now, into the beds. I put the last lot of seedlings out 2 days ago, and I can see they've already perked their heads up underneath the plastic. So now I'll just, for these, again using the cell trays, just do a couple of depressions like that. And what I'll do, I'll sow about between 8 and 10 seeds per cell, and just leave them like that and plant the whole block out. And then I find I can harvest them like you'd buy a bunch in the supermarket. I don't bother thinning them out, it's too much trouble. So I don't know if you can see the seed there in the tray. Just count around about 10, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10. Slide those into the first cell and repeat for the rest. So that's the last tray done now. Just pop a bit of compost back on the top. Okay, ready for the watering, and hopefully they'll produce some nice onions. The next job on is to look after a plant there. I've sown the seeds and actually neglected it a bit, but it's paid me back quite well. And it's a pot of celery, Latham self-blanching. Here they are. These were sown on the 5th of March, and I've done nothing with them since. And as you can see, they're quite healthy. So what I'm going to do now is pot them on into a couple of 24 cell trays, and then if they've got any left over, I'll see if anybody wants them on the plot. I grew the same variety, Latham self-blanching celery last year, and had a really good crop off it. Although I found it did take quite a bit of while to mature. And again, I planted that in blocks very close together, purely to try and get the self-blanching to work, and in a way it did. I'll give a few blocks of it away to some guys on the plot, and they seem happy with it as well, so hopefully it'll be just as good this year. It has developed quite a really good root system on this, so hopefully it'll carry on growing like this. I'm very happy with it. I've sown way too many as usual, but I'd rather have too many than not enough. I plan on planting the celery out right in front of me sweet corn, and that's on the first bed next to the where the famous parsnips will be, hopefully. I mentioned in my last video that normally there should be something like the story like Brendan goes on about while he's actually doing something else, but I've actually got something to tell you while I'm doing this. It's a story. There's a pub not too far away from where I live, which has succumbed to the axe and been closed down. It's been under the hammer for probably a few years now, where trade has dropped off for one reason and another, and it's eventually closed down now. But something quite amusing happened. I think it was Thursday or Friday this week, and I got a text off my daughter on her way to school. She was waiting at the bus stop, and somebody had actually built a coffin, and it wasn't out of cardboard, it was like proper plywood, and put a nameplate on it as a memorial to the pub, and it had got rest in peace, and it was propped up at the side of the road for everyone to see, and it was there for all day. I found it that amusing that I actually went and took a few photographs of it, because I like these sort of things. And anyway, later during the day we looked, and it had disappeared, so we thought that was it, and lo and behold, it was standing proud outside the pub for everybody to see again. So that's sort of humour they have round here. So there we have the first tray. I'll just pop that in for a watering, and then I'll start on the next one. So that's the second tray pricked out now. I'll just give those a soak in water just to bed them in, and then put them on the shelf and see how they do. Just to let you see here, I've popped some Hearst green shaft into a tub just to soak before I sow them in the gutter. Normally I do this overnight, but I forgot to do it last night, so I'll pop them in there, leave them in there 3 or 4 hours, then just drain them off, and then we'll pop them in some guttering. I'm just going to pop a few little iceberg lettuces in now, because the last lot of plugs have gone into the ground outside, so I always like to keep a few on the go on the back burner, as I say. Just get a bit of compost in here, and all that in. This is the Verve compost I'm using. As you can see, there's quite a bit of junk in there. That should be enough what I want. Let's put that there. Again, just a little depression in each top. This is the variety that I'm using. It's one from Wilco's Iceberg 2, it's called. Just get my little sewing aid. What's really useful there is just to say it's a bit of cardboard with a plant label. I think I've just sharpened the end a bit. And I use it quite a lot. It's very helpful if you want to just pop the odd seed out. If I can find it, have I got to just cut the top off here. There you go. So I only sow one seed in each cell because with lettuce I find it's more or less guaranteed germination. So I'll do 2 on this occasion just to make sure, because I've never used the what's it before, the Wilco lettuce. And there we have it. Put that there. Right. I'll just put a bit on the top of the compost. I'll just put a bit of vermiculite in just to the top there. Right, I'll give that a little drink, put it on the shelf, and let it get growing. You're no doubt aware of the drama we had in the last episode with the parsnips. Well, when I planted them into the ground, I also threw a few seeds into a plastic tray, one of these elongated ones, and quite surprisingly they germinated very well, and the parsnips which I lost in the ground wasn't quite as large as this, but it wasn't far behind, and there they are now. What I'm going to do, although as you know I've planted some more into the soil, what I will do is try and transplant these into some toilet roll tubes. I've got a few here, and it's just an experiment really. I'll put them in, pop them in, and keep watering and see if they develop, and it's something to bear in mind in future if they're successful. So let's go. So I'm going to try and get these out here now without damaging the roots as much as possible. Oh, it's got a fantastic root ball on them, but really could have done without that. I'll try and break them up into little sections and see how we go from there. The dibber is going right down. I don't know the sharp head for these, but unless you try, we'll never know. As you can see, the taproot on this is massive, so really I don't hold much hope, but we'll try. I'll try to get as much as the root in as possible. So what I'll do, I'll give them a bit of water, soak them from underneath, and we'll check the progress in a future episode. Just a quick update, the swede, which are Tweed F1 that are planted in, sown in last episode, as you can see them just starting to pop up now, so that's a pretty good news. These are the cauliflowers which have really shot on during the last week or so. I was actually hoping to leave them in the cell trays and plant them straight out, but it looks as though they'll be pot bound if I leave them on, so I'll need to leave them another fortnight at least. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pot them on into these about 3.5 inch pots. These are the ones from Wilco's, and then hopefully they can stretch their legs a bit more before they do go outside. So let's go. That's one down, another 10 or 11 to go. This is a tray of the, I think the roundhead cabbages, which again these have got to be potted on. I think there's about 8 in there. I have got some spared in the little cells as well, but they've got a bit leggy. So I'm going to pop these on into the 3.5 inch pots again, and let them hang fire another 2 or 3 weeks before they go out into the beds on the plot. And there we have the 12 roundhead cabbages potted on. Now onto the calabrese. And there's 12 pots of calabrese there, just soaking, just to get them, the soil a bit damp, settle them in, and then I'll put them back into the greenhouse. You must all aware now that there's a few YouTubers trying a few trials with potatoes grown in different media. The last one I saw was Mark from MuddyBootz Allotment. He was trying it in a bucket of horse manure. Well, I've got a couple of buckets with some spare sarpos, so I'm going to try it in. This is horse manure, but this is more or less fresh out the stable. I don't know if you can see there, it's probably still steaming a bit. I'll just put the fork in and then we can see what it's like really. You can see how fresh and hot that is. I'll be popping that in a few buckets and seeing how we go. I'm not sure if this will work because the heat may burn the tubers, but we'll just see anyway. I don't suppose I'll be eating it, it's just to relax. These are the spare tubers that I've got left. And I think I'll put 2 rows of 2 in and different layers. See how that goes. I'll just top it up now with a bit more goodness. I'm just going to give these a water in now. There's no nutrients, blood, fish and bone or anything gone in. It's just pure horse manure from the stable. So just had a smile to myself here while doing the label for the horse manure in the sarpo mirror. And when I was doing the label, if you look at the label here, put sarpo plus FHM, which I think there might be a connection between the FHM on here and the magazines. Well, good morning folks, it's Monday the 27th of April. And overnight we've had a little nip of frost. I come into the greenhouse this morning, it was -1, but all the plants seem to be okay. Fortunately for me last night, the last thing I did, I spotted I'd left the sweet corn out and decided to bring it in, and I'm glad I did. I had quite a productive day yesterday, potting up the brassicas into larger pots, and come in this morning, they all look as though they've took it quite well. So I'll just give you a little tour of what's happening in this greenhouse, because I really need to start getting stuff out now hardened off, because my tomato plants are really starting to get a bit leggy, so I want to get them into the borders. So let's just have a look around. This is some flat leaf kale, which is starting to look a bit sick now, so I've got to decide whether I'm going to put it in the ground or ditch it. Moving across here, we have the parsnips, which you may recall that I'd sown these in a a long thin plastic container, and I pricked them out into the toilet rolls. The leaves do seem okay, but because I've disturbed the roots, I think they will grow, but I reckon the parsnip will actually fork once it's in the ground. But hopefully the ones I've planted straight into the bed will germinate, and I can just use these as a trial experiment to see what happens a little bit later. Moving on, the dahlias, well, they're looking really good, ready to go out. These are the veg that I potted on yesterday. So the first one's up here in me some Savoy cabbage. Then moving along here, we've got a calabrese. And then onto me cauliflowers. And on the end there's a few geraniums. Up to the top here, there's my celery. There's 2 trays of celery there. That's variety is called Latham self-blanching. That's the variety. I grew those last year and I'm quite happy with the crop. Moving across is a few peppers, summer salad mix, sweet peppers. A couple of onions which have started to fall over now. They're thickening up nice, but again, just getting them into the ground. Red Baron on the left, and there's just 3 little autumn giant leeks. And I've got 2 trays here of the Rudbeckia cutting mixture. For some reason, the tray on the left seems to be a bit more developed than the one on the right, but I think that was because I had the one lower down. It was a bit more shaded, but they'll soon pick up. Down to here, we've got a few more geraniums. And I'll just pan out here. There's another 3 trays of veggies that I pricked out, brassicas. There's sprouts on there. Another one there of sprouts. And just coming up to some roundhead cabbage here on the end. Right on the end here now is the marigolds. Them are looking okay. Just a quick mention about the peas that have been grown in the guttering. I found that by soaking the seed overnight, the germination is a lot better. These are Merce Green Shaft. I'll just pop in there close. You can see that the one on the right is been soaked for about 6 hours, and the one on the left is straight from the packet, and there's quite a difference in size. And as I say, the germination has been a lot better since I've been soaking them. These are the sweet corn, which thankfully I remembered last night to pop into the greenhouse, and just kept them out of the frost. Looking down into here, there's a few more brassicas that I've potted on. Them will probably be surplus, but I'll just hold them back just in case we have a few little accidents later on in the week. Moving down to here, spare shallots. These tomatoes here, they're the tumbling variety. I was prompted by seeing, I think it was Nora's video. She sorted the hanging baskets, so I'll be potting them on into a 14 or 16 inch basket a little later today. A couple of little melons there, some more geraniums, and that thing in the corner there is, apart from the sweet pea being in the way, is the parsnips that I've just popped in some peat pots with the bottoms out, but hopefully I shouldn't need those. Sweet peas doing well, tops are pinched out and need to get them out. More dahlias on there. These are the tomatoes for the greenhouse, which really need to be, I could do with clearing the borders out. Spring onions have been sown yesterday, no sown yet obviously. More geraniums there. Tray of little iceberg lettuce. Over the back there we have salvias, that's it. And the busy lizards for some reason seem to have slowed down, but that's in no rush. And a quick look up here. Carrots are actually romping away now. These are the sweet candle. And just pop round over to here. These little gem lettuces are doing fairly well. A few beetroot there to go out, bolt hardy, and 3 or 4 pak choy. These my Swedes that they've germinated really quickly. The Swedes are. A few onions, I'm not sure what they are. I just noticed now that the broad beans and the French beans started to poke their heads up. So it won't be long now before they're on the way. So I really must get the bean bed finally prepared, ready. Still got the tomatoes in the grow pots, just the 4 at the moment. But as I say, when the greenhouse gets cleared out, I'll fill the other side with at least another 4. Then down the bottom end I plan on having some cucumbers and the melons. Well folks, on closer inspection, lifting the fleece up, it looks as though the frost has caught the potatoes slightly. They'll obviously pick up, but what I'm going to do, I think, is just pop a bit of straw on the top before I put the fleece back on for tonight. Well, that brings another episode to an end, folks. Thank you for watching and commenting, and I'd like to say a big thank you to all the subscribers. The numbers just keep going up every day, and I do appreciate that. But some of you might know that I've also got another channel which I do around the Florida area, and I've been doing that for about 4 years, and the subscribers I don't think have reached 100 yet. On here I'm up to about 220 plus, and it's great. I find this gardening channel, the community we're on, is really good for hints and tips, and it's far more valuable than anything you'll learn out of a book or even see on the telly. So thank you very much, and until next time, see you later. Bye.